What's going on, y'all? It's the kid Jay Nolan here. Now, y'all know I really prefer to talk about the music industry, disputes that happen in the music industry, people that go into details about what goes on behind the scenes in the business. That's really what I would prefer to talk about on this channel, but it seems like the gossip and the mess seems to perform a little bit better. We have a mixture of both going on today, so I guess I get to exist in both realms, which is cool with me. So we have this songwriter slash artist by the name of Amy Luciani. She's a love and hip hop star, but she also works behind the scenes doing a lot of writing for different people. She recently did a podcast interview on the Baller Alert podcast where she spoke about some of the stuff that she does work on behind the scenes, basically differentiating herself from some of her co-stars on the show, I guess you could say. And she spoke specifically about ghostwriting. Well, not really ghostwriting, but songwriting camps that happen in the music industry. People have talked at length about songwriting camps. A lot of major artists have them. Beyonce, Rihanna, Amy Luciani spoke about working on a camp or working at a camp for Cardi B. She didn't really name other people. She really only spoke about Cardi, and I think the reason why she named her specifically is because it's pretty much known throughout the industry and with the fans that Cardi doesn't necessarily write all of her music. She writes a good percentage of it, but she doesn't write it all. Everybody's already associated all of her work with Partisan Fontaine, even though he's not the only person that works with her. But I guess because of that information already being out in the public, she felt it was safe to speak on working in a camp for Cardi. When I saw the clip going around, I decided to watch the entire interview of Amy to see where she was going. And she really was just talking about how competitive it is for songwriters in the industry, right? They go in the studio, it could be 14 or 15 of them fighting for really like 2 songs. The artist's album could already be done and they just need like 2 singles or something like that. And they get this whole conglomerate of writers and they all put them in the studio. They have beats already there for them. You know, they have producers come in, bring beats. You may have somebody like a London J who produces and writes, right? So it's very competitive. Everybody's fighting for those 2 slots. And even within those 2 slots, everybody's trying to get their words heard, right? So now you're in a situation where you're fighting just to get a couple of lines on a song so that you could get paid, so that you could get some type of credit, so that you could possibly, you know, parlay that couple lines from that song to get to your next session, right? Because the writers are not being treated all the way fairly. Some of them get paid to be in sessions. A lot of them don't. Some of them are getting paid royalties on the actual songs. A lot of them don't. So she was talking about how competitive it is on that side. She just happened to use a Cardi B session in which she wrote for as an example, right? And she said, hey, I wrote on a Cardi B song. I had a verse on there. Unfortunately, it didn't end up making the album, right? But I worked on it. This caused a lot of confusion, of course, because number one, when you bring up Cardi B's name, Barty Gang is going to pounce on you. So that's number one. Number two, it started picking up traction so much so that Cardi B actually reached out to Amy Luciani personally through Instagram to get some clarification, right? So what I'm going to do here is play a portion of what Amy said on the podcast, and then we're going to go into her interaction with Cardi B.
A couple of writing sessions.
I have been in writing sessions for Cardi B, and I'll leave it at that. That was my most biggest opportunity.
Okay.
And I was the only girl in the room with all the male writers. So,
Can you give us an example of what a writing session is like for people who may be curious?
Yes. So a writing session, you'll get, obviously, your confidential email through whoever you're working with, if you have a pub deal or a label deal, and they will tell you like which label is looking for songs. And they'll tell you what type of songs they're looking for, meaning so-and-so has a 10-song album and it's about to come out. The last 2 records, they want it to be maybe club boppy, fun, or a deep record. It's like heart bro, got dumped, and depending on what your writing cadence is, you might get the email like, hey, it's a session coming in. You want to be a part of it. You don't know who you are.
So boom, Cardi decided to leak the actual conversation between herself and Amy Luciani, in which she basically came up front to check her. She says, when have you ever in your life written for me, straight up and down. That's where she came out saying. Amy responds, Cardi, no, please don't take it out of context. I said 3 years ago I was in a writing session with multiple songwriters and your name with other dope artists were in the lineup of upcoming albums. Cardi then says, how you jacking that you did a song for me and your verse didn't make it, but you getting credited on the album. Damn, she's starting to press. She says, never that. You didn't say that you claim you wrote for me. What? I don't work with no writers unless they bringing me singing hooks. So I don't even know why you had... I don't know what Amy's saying here. Like, it seems like she's starting to backtrack though. Like, damn it, I didn't know Cardi was going to hit me up. Let me clean this shit up, right? Cardi says, I'm sorry if I sound aggressive, but my album is my everything, my bread and butter, and I take a lot of pride, and so many people have discredited me for my work. To which Amy then starts shelling out paragraphs saying, you've worked your ass off. No one can say you didn't. Cardi, I never said you had writer camps. Can you please hear me out? I know these just fucking weirdos. I'm not her. I said I was with a pub and got called years ago to write. When I arrive, you never know who's there and who's looking for either hooks, verses, or cadences, and I was proud to be one of the black girl there amongst all other men writers. You should take pride. Look at you. You are self-made. We love you out here. The fuck? No one can discredit you. We all literally watched you work your move and made yourself a boss. Again, a real itch say sorry. I apologize. I'll take this as a learning lesson. Keep going, Cardi. This feels like what I'm going through on Love and Hip Hop ATL right now. 2-hour interview conversation being misconstrued. I'm just sorry, girl. Keep going. And this is where the industry switcheroos and the industry tricks get a lot of people tripped up, right? Amy Luciani, she's still trying to get on. She's still trying to get to that spot where she can be in a Cardi B position if that's in the cards for her. It didn't seem like she was trying to claim that she wrote for Cardi, but she used her as an example as a session that she contributed to. And of course, when it gets to the simple people, the people that don't know how the music industry works, a lot of extra sauce is going to get put on that. So then people start taking the video and putting their own captions and headlines to it saying, this girl claims she wrote for Cardi. And a lot of people aren't even going to watch the video. They're just going to take those headlines and captions at face value and be like, see, we told y'all she don't write her shit. Cardi's already been dealing with a lot of allegations that she doesn't write. She's been defending herself for a couple years now, stating, I write my shit. I do get help when I feel like getting help, but y'all keep discrediting me like my pen don't work. A lot of the shit that y'all heard me say, I have come up with. I brought ideas to the table. Other people may have helped me put those ideas together, string them together, but y'all are acting like people are just bringing me notebooks in the studio saying, read this. It's not what's happening. So of course she's being very defensive because there's so many people that are trying to take her down, that are trying to act like she can't or won't write her own music. And this is kind of like fuel to the fire. There's even more interaction between them. You have Amy Luciani posting her take or her visual, from her side of Instagram, where she says, Cardi, I should take how you speaking to me as disrespect, but let's do this. I'm happy for your success. God is good again. You are taking interview I was truthful about out of context. Cardi says, you making me look like I have writers camps is disrespect. You making it seem like my team called you guys to write for me. It's disrespect my name came up. Y'all put me in y'all conversations if y'all out here writing for y'all to submit a record, hoping that it gets to me. It's you and y'all luck. Never have me and my team booked out writing sessions. So Cardi is saying, all you people out here to be acting like y'all are in Cardi B writing sessions, no the fuck you're not. You're in writing sessions hoping to pitch music to my team, hoping that one day it could possibly reach me, and if it does, I might say yes. Y'all are acting like y'all are just feeding me content and I'm consuming it and saying it on wax. I didn't say none of the shit that you came up with, so really you can't even try to take credit for writing in a session for Cardi, because you were writing in a session for your publisher who wanted to send me music. I'm not aware of your session. I'm not aware that your publisher is working on this music. Y'all have just heard through the grapevine that I'm working on an album. So y'all want to start putting stuff together, putting together a pitch deck, putting together a playlist and saying, hey, we got records if you're looking for them. That's totally different than being scheduled by Cardi's team to go into a studio, cook up a bunch of records, and she picks from her favorites. That's totally different scenarios. So I totally understand why Cardi's mad, and I think any artist in the game will legit be frustrated by this because it's disingenuous, it's misleading, and the way that Amy Luciani spoke, the way she was composed in that interview, I would have liked her to clean that up a little bit more. Cardi continues, when you literally told the world that I have writing sessions in 2 states, which is not true, and just having the world look at me like I don't put no work in my shit. Amy says, wait, I'm only saying sorry because you feel disrespected. I stand on what I said in the interview. I've been to writing sessions. When asked what was my best experiences, I said I was excited for Cardi B and Kelly Rowland. She says, but the writing camp wasn't for me. Amy says, I did not mean that statement to disrespect you. That's why I apologize. Cardi continues, you did not get a call like you coming to write for Cardi, and that's a fact. And the reason why she's going so hard, again, is because there is a very thick, I wouldn't even say thin line, there's a very thick line between, hey, I'm booking out a session, y'all come up with y'all can for me. Or a publishing company, which is like a Sony Music, a Universal Publishing, like a lot of these record labels out here, they have subsidiary companies where they hire writers. They go put writers on allowances. They give writers little retainers and studio fees to go in the studio, crank out as much as they possibly can, and then the publishing company takes that music and they start slinging it around to wherever they can find a fit, whether it ends up in a TV show, a movie, whether it ends up on another artist's album. They don't give a fuck. They're going to take what they could get. So these are 2 very different situations, and Cardi B is fed up with everybody because a lot of the speculation seems to lead to people believing she don't write her shit. Amy then posts on Instagram stating, all this is sad. Cardi B decided to send a private conversation to the blogs of a conversation she and I were having from a misunderstanding. This is the same person who said they do anything for clout. You'd expect the smaller artist, me, to have done that, but I didn't. I still don't get why us women treat each other so poorly. To know me is to know I love to see us win. I love to see us make it out the ghetto and experience new levels. I said I was proud to be in a writing session 4 years ago with Cardi named and others mentioned were people whose team was looking for either music hooks, verses, or cadences. Somehow Cardi took a pleasant convo and turned it negative. As she posted only certain screenshots to make her look tough, let me say this. If you know my body, you know it ain't a scary bone in my body. I come from pulling up, slapping any hoe looking froggy, then asking questions later. But now I have a lot to lose. I was trying to be grown and cordial in our DM to explain to her. She took an interview way out of context. If that make me look pussy, then so be it. I know my power. My sister was right next to me mad as... that I wasn't going off on Cardi after she disrespected me, but what I've learned is the loud one ain't the one to worry about. I'm so used to girls talking crazy. That's what some girls do. My thing is catch my body. Them words and arguing is child play. I stand on what I said, and I'm still hoping Cardi wins. I don't charge this to my heart. Women are emotional. Notice there are so many black men songwriters who post their accomplishments, post their experiences. Notice us women only drag each other for doing it. I'm sorry, Miss Amy Luciani. I'm not riding with you on this one. If you're out here writing and getting those credits, I salute you 1,000%. I'm glad you're getting those placements. That's something that a lot of people in this world will never experience. That's something that a lot of people are breaking their backs to try to get those credits. I'm not going to discredit you in that fashion. However, like I said before, you were very composed in this interview. You were very selective about what you were trying to say. So I think you should have taken more care when you thought to use Cardi B's name. And I think that's the only problem. And the fact that you're not really taking that into consideration is a little bit disingenuous to me. I feel like you're on defense. You're trying to defend yourself, which anyone would. But I think the real thing to do in this situation is just apologize. Say, I shouldn't have said Cardi B's name. I was in a session where I was under the impression that they were looking for music. But no, Cardi B and her team did not book me to be a part of this. No, Cardi B did not have anything to do. Cardi B probably never heard any of my lyrics. Whatever I did, it never made its way to her. She never used any of it. Therefore, she should have said something like, I was in a session trying to pitch music, right? If you say that, that's a lot different from I was in a writing session for Cardi. If you don't work in the music industry, if you have no connection to the music business, all of this sounds like mumbo jumbo. It sounds like semantics, but the way you word things is very important when it comes to taking credit or assuming credit or trying to receive credit on people's work. This is people's lifeline. This is what people get paid to do. And these different phrases, these little terminologies can be the distinction between getting an upfront fee, between getting royalties on somebody's album, between being able to file a lawsuit for somebody taking your idea and running with it without giving you proper credit or payment for it, right? We've seen so many different copyright infringement cases popping up in the last couple years. I've covered quite a few of them on my channel, and these are the types of things that artists have to protect themselves from, because there's so many people in the world that assume artists are just out here trying to take other people's ideas. And there are people that actually do this too. There are people that steal people's ideas. There are people that search through Instagram and YouTube just to see what's hot and what's new so that they can pull from it and remix it and remake it. But that also fucks up the game for people that don't do that, because now they get lumped in with the niggas that do. So yes, it is a very serious matter. It is something to be taken serious. It is something worth fighting for. It is something worth getting in your DMs and saying what needs to be said in order to clean the shit up. Can't rock with you on that one, Amy. Then you start talking about, y'all know my body, y'all know this, that, and the third. Now you're trying to act like it's going somewhere that it's not. Because even if your sister is mad, nobody needs to know that. If you are mad, nobody needs to know that. You got to understand that the statement that you made ruffled the feathers of a bigger artist, and it seems like you would have loved to have worked with that bigger artist. So if you want to ever work with that bigger artist, you should have taken the initiative to be like, you know what? I shouldn't have said that. I fucked up. I said something. I said her name. I shouldn't have said her name. I was very cautious about using anybody else's name because you didn't mention nobody else's name. So why put Cardi out there? Because you thought it was safe. And she assured you on the back end that it's not. Very simple, very easy. It's not the Baller Alert podcast fault. You went on there, you told your story or your side of the story. Cardi B came out, told her side of the story saying, I don't know who the fuck you are. When did you ever write for me? I ain't never heard none of your shit. Anything that you did in that session never got to me. I never used none of it. So please keep the fuck away from me. Keep my name out your mouth. If we don't work directly together, if you're not in a session with me, if I didn't use none of your words, cadences, flows, or anything like that, you got to keep that shit over there. Can't make it seem like it's more than it was, which once it gets to the blogs, that's what they're gonna do. You coming into the music industry, this is a learning lesson, as you stated, and I think you need to stand on that part of it. Now, I know there's gonna be a lot of Cardi B haters down below in the comments. Y'all are gonna say, man, she just don't write her shit. Why are you defending her? Because that's not entirely true. There's a lot of artists in the game that get hooks written for them. Even your fave gets hooks written for them, right? There's some artists that come in the studio, they may have ideas for their verses. They already have lines. And then they ask people around them that they trust, hey, what do you think I should say right here? How do you think I should word this? Should I keep it the way it is? Should I do this? And a person may say, well, how about you go da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da instead of going da-da-da-da-da, right? And they say, oh, I like that. That's fire. Let me go lay that down. They came with the idea. They bounced it off somebody else. It's like, oh, I like how you did that. I like how you took my idea and flipped it. I'm going to go do that version of it. And then all of a sudden you get people saying, oh, yeah, I wrote that. No, the fuck you did not write that. You contributed to it. You bounced an idea, but you didn't write it. And there's so many instances of that because, yes, we are in the era of they do anything for clout. I don't personally believe Amy Luciani was necessarily looking for clout. She was just speaking about her experience and her understanding of that experience. But your experience and your understanding of your experience does not necessarily mean that that's entirely what it was. Again, if you're writing for a publishing company, what you're creating becomes property of the publishing company, right? I want y'all to really just get this embedded in your head. Once the publishing company has it, they can pitch it to a Cardi because they know she has an album coming. They could pitch it to a Nicki. They could pitch it to a Lotto. They could pitch it to a Rennie Rucci. They could pitch it to a Rico Nasty. They could send this same group of songs that was worked on in this session to all 6 of those artists. All 6 of those artists may show interest in it, and then it becomes a bidding war for the song. All 6 of those artists could all say, I'm not fucking with it. All 6 of those artists may never hear it. Their A&R may say, this ain't up to par. I'm not even going to take it to them. These are all of the things that can happen. And then you have Amy Luciani back here, who she's just putting up shots in the gym, right? That's what she does. She's a writer. So she's constantly putting up free throws, right? Anybody that plays basketball, no sports, every free throw is not going to go in, right? But she's putting up the shots because her publisher is gonna keep her in those sessions because they've paid her money. They might have paid her in advance to be a part of that publishing company. They have to make the money back that they gave her. So they're gonna keep putting her in the studio, hoping that she lands placements on somebody's album so that they can recoup investment that they already put into an Amy Luciani, right? Hopefully y'all make it to this part of the video. This is very vital information. I'm actually a songwriter. I'm actually an artist in the music business my damn self. I do a lot of music for TV and film, advertisements and stuff like that. I don't really work with big name artists. I ghostwrite for smaller artists that are coming up as well. But all of the terminology, all of this stuff is intertwined. I've written books about the music industry. I take consultations with upcoming artists and songwriters and teach them how to learn the business. So I'm not just some regular ass Joe that made a YouTube channel talking about this stuff. When it comes to the gossip and shit, that's really not my area of expertise. This shit here really is. And I got a plethora of videos on my channel breaking down how this stuff works, going back a couple years now, okay? Let me know what y'all think of this down below in the comments. Be sure to like and share this video. If this is your first time seeing me on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Hit the post notification bell for all updates, and I will see y'all on the next one, all right? Much love and respect. Y'all stay safe out there. Peace!